Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everybody. Thanks for joining again. Always love having you guys. If you're a current subscriber, thanks again for joining in. Really appreciate it. Every single time you guys come back, it's always a treat. And I love when you guys reach out to me. I love to hear some of the comments and some of the familiar names and faces. That's what really makes this whole thing worthwhile. And also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You might want to do that right now. Don't forget. And that will get you in on a whole host of great car content, specifically BMW, Lamborghini, or whatever else that we happen to stumble across. So today, really it boils down to, we're going to talk about my E92 BMW 335. And this one here is the early car, as you can see by the bumper. You can tell it's the early car, and it actually has the N54 engine in it, which is the infamous or famous twin-turbo 3-liter, which produces just a hair over 300 horsepower. Now today's video, this is really a continuation of the saga with this car. In today's video, we're going to go into a little bit of depth about some of the hardware that I truly believe if you drive this car or a car like this, you need it. That's right. You can drive a 135, 335, or a 535 with the N54. If you drive any of those cars like this one, I truly believe you need this piece of hardware. And that hardware is what? So let's talk about that now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place, and today our car's running. And as you'll notice, we have an engine light on. This is not really an unusual circumstance when you drive a 335. You pretty much get used to driving with engine lights on. So this brings me to this piece of hardware. And this hardware is Berger Tuning, the JB4. And what is the JB4? I truly believe every 335 or N54 owner needs the JB4. Why? Because it does a lot of things. Everybody wants their car to go a little faster. Why did you buy the turbo car in the first place? Because it goes faster than the other ones. So if you like speed, and not everybody does, but if you do like I do, then everybody's always tinkering and tuning. There's a lot of tuning options for these cars, for example, like Cobb, Dynan, and now with even a $100 flash and an MHD download, you can put an instant 100 horsepower into these things. But I've gone a different route. My car has the Berger Tuning JB4, or JB4 Plus, if you will. What that does is it's a piggyback. It's not an ECU flash. It's actually bolted in. It takes your current ECU information and it does a reevaluation, fakes it, and reinserts it and does the outputs accordingly. Now, what that's meant to do is it can give you power. Why I like the JB4 and why I think you guys should like the JB4 too, and something that it does that some of these other tuners may or may not do, some do and some don't. I'll give you some reasons. Number one, it'll reset engine lights. So if you have a check engine light like that one, you can set it up so it'll actually auto delete the check engine light. Some of those tuners do. MHD does. I know some of them do automatically delete check engine light. Well, why would you have a check engine light? Well, there's a million reasons why you might, but one of the reasons is if you're modifying your car like I have, and as soon as you put downpipes or catless downpipes, you wind up removing your catalytic converters, and as such, away goes your oxygen sensors, or they don't read the proper information because there's a calculation they do, and without the cats in there, it will surely give you a code. So how do you make that code go away? Well, you either need an oxygen sensor extender, which you can plug those in, and they're not a guarantee, but they do help, or you can get a flash like MHD, or you can do a JB4 piggyback like I've got. Okay, that's fine. A lot of them will do that. But another advantage with the JB4 is that you can run it in default mode. You don't always have to run under the tuned conditions. You can actually keystroke this thing, and you can do it. You can set it up so that you can run default. Say you have poor gas, or you're out in the country and you get poor gasoline. The car, you can set it back to default settings so you can take on bad gas, or you just want to run stock configuration for whatever reason. It allows you to do that, and you can do it on the fly while you're driving. You don't necessarily have to do it while you pull over and pull out a laptop and rescan it or code, alter it that way. You literally, with a simple keystroke, you're able to change the settings on the fly, literally while you're driving down the road. So that's one thing I like about it. You can reset the CELs, you can alter it, you can insert different states of tune. The other thing I like about a lot of these other tuners, it's one flash, it's once and done. So you've got whatever set of tune or flash that you've got, that's just where it's at. This one here, what I really like about the JB4 is that you can pick a bunch of different maps You know, map 1, for example, is a mild tune, so it gives you, it simply bumps up the boost, not much else, and that'll give you instant power. Map 2, it'll bump up the boost even more. You get even more PSI of boost, but you need some other things. You need like the catless downpipes, possibly intercooler, and you have to be running a higher grade of fuel. Then you get into the other maps, you know, map 3, 4, 5. You have other maps. Some of them are doing different things. Some of them are configured specifically for running E85. So if you want to run E85 and you want to run massive amounts of boost, the JB4 will accommodate that. A lot of these other flash tuners won't. So you can run E85, or you can do meth injection. You can do a lot of different things for those guys that are going for full-on extreme tuning. What if you want to adapt to single turbo? That's another great option. Now you'll have to get another interposing hardware to do that, to make it work, but it's entirely possible with the JB4. So the JB4 is very flexible on how you tune it. It gives you several different maps. One map even is for dynamic, so it'll adjust to the fueling and the temperature and everything outside, and that map is totally flexible and relatively safe. So honestly, JB4 does a lot of great things, from different map configurations, different states of tune, and you can do it all on the fly. You can also reset your codes. You can read your codes. It does everything. That's the main reason why I like this tuner, and honestly, it's very easy to install. I'll show you where you do that. So then we lift up the hood right here, and there's your N54, which we just spoke of. Hey, there's no leaks for a change. Look, my antifreeze leaks, glycol leaks, coolant leaks are all relatively dry. Anyway, enough about that. This is where you pull this cap and you install your JB4. This is not a do-it-yourself, but this is in fact where you wire in your JB4 right in here. Now it's a piggyback, so at any time you can pretty much disconnect it, unwire it from the system, and you're back to stock configuration. That's what's nice about it. It's not a flash that ultimately is, you know, you have to go back to the tuner. This one here is more do-it-yourself, home do-it-yourself. With the JB4, if you have a little bit of tools and a little know-how, you can actually run some of these tunes yourself and do some troubleshooting with the JB4. You have to do some mapping and whatnot, but honestly, the JB4 does a lot of great things for helping you tune your engine. So let me demonstrate how this all works. You see these fancy buttons on the dash here. So you're driving along, you know, everything is normal here, and you want to activate your tune. So with the JB4, it's off right now. I'm in bypass. So if you want to turn it on, you hit this button and this button at the same time and press and hold. And you'll notice it does this little flash. Now all the gauges do something different. They all mean something different. You'll notice we're down here because we're on menu 1, but we're basically menu 1 and map 0. And map 0 is the default. So if I want to go map 1, that's where I mentioned already, map 1 will give you a certain amount of boost addition on top of stock. So you'll get a little bit of a pressure and power increase there. Map 2, you'll get even more, but now you need some hardware like downpipes and better fueling. Map 3, then you start getting to E85 and 4 and 5, and the list goes on. 5 is the dynamic. That's probably a good map to run normally, because that's a map that's going to make adjustments for the fuel that you have, or poor fueling that you might have, or good fueling, the driving conditions. That's going to adapt for you. So you probably want to run map 5 for the most part. That's one of the better maps to roll with. And the list goes on. And again, depending on whether you want E85 or meth injection, or you have a different states of tune, you can select your different maps. Now there's a lot of different menus that you can run, so you just toggle, and some do different things. For example, you can change the configuration of what these other gauges do. Sometimes your temperature gauge turns into a boost gauge. So as you run and you run hard, you'll see that boost pressure increase and decrease. It's kind of alarming at first, but it actually is a boost gauge, or doubles as a boost gauge. There's your maps, but you're on this mode. So if you go to the next menu, this is all about the code reading. This gets you different code reading capabilities, resetting codes, reading codes, doing all of that like. The second one is all about trimming fuel. You have your percentage fuel, your ratios and all of that stuff. You can make adjustments to underboost, overboost conditions, meth flow, water temp. You can do different things with that. And so you've got the different menus that alter When you buy the JB4, you can actually go on, they tell you what the different menus mean as you stroll through there. You can see this moving around depending on which menu we're in. And then we'll go back down to the base, and that turns it off. So when you hit it and you're at bottom ground zero on there, press it again, now you're back in. So let's go back in. See, we're back in default mode. What I can do is turn that on. Press and hold. It does a reset. Now it gives me DTC, but now it will actually do a reset on the CEL after about 2-3 minutes. That code will go away, which is good because not only can you read codes, but you can delete codes with this as well. And lo and behold, it went away. So our code has been cleared. What a beautiful thing. So if I can just summarize and say, guys, if you're tuning your car, you need a tuner or flasher or something, but the JB4 is a great place to start because not only does it give you the tune, but it actually gives you flexibility to alter the tune depending on the type of fuel you might be exposed to. Maybe you want to go to the drag track and maybe you just want to bump up that. Maybe you have access to E85 that day and you want to run a hard pass. You can do a quick button stroke and you're good to go. Maybe you just want to reset a code because you had some other issue, not even related to the O2 sensors. It gives you lots of flexibility to get rid of codes, tune your car, and if at the very least, it gives you a little bit of a horsepower bump. Everybody in a 335 pretty much would appreciate stage 1 or map 1 at the very least. Gives you a mild upgrade, ups the performance. It's definitely seat of the pants value. And honestly, it's an easy thing to do and is extremely safe for your car. No issues, no muss, no fuss. Now, if you want to get a hold of one of these JB4 kits for yourself, make sure you check the link down in the description. I actually have a link there that's going to take you right there. You can buy this online. Easy peasy, instructions in there, all available. And honestly, the JB4, even though it's a little bit older, it's constantly being revised. They're always doing firmware updates. It's very relevant. And it's honestly one of the most flexible, best systems because you're able to run other fueling systems. A lot of those other tuners you can't, or you have to get special flashes every time you do some sort of upgrade. So anyway, I can't go on enough. The JB4 is the way to go if you want to go fast. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I really hope to see you guys soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.